guest not only foresaw the changes in the future of television, but is now actively involved in how those changes are taking place. Please welcome Steve Dahl. Hi, Steve. Now, I know that most people have heard the term streaming, but for those non-technical people like me, can you kind of describe what streaming means in general?
Sure. Streaming is typically, we talk about watching content over an internet feed such as Netflix, those type of channels, which are actually coming over the internet instead of over the air like a traditional TV or cable. It's actually coming over an internet feed.
Can you kind of tell us about your professional journey and how it shaped you into the business person that you are today and what you do?
Sure. Yeah, I definitely believe my past experience has made a big influence on who I am today. And I joined the Navy right out of high school, and being far away from home, age 18, away from family, the Navy really taught me self-discipline and really instilled a strong work ethic. And once I got out of the Navy, I started working at an oceanfront resort to put myself through college. And there I learned a lot about customer service. And one of the biggest things I learned was that no matter how hard you try, mistakes are going to happen. And how you handle it makes all the difference. You want to take ownership, take responsibility, really work with the customer to come up with a satisfactory solution. And you'll actually find in a lot of cases that you actually have a stronger relationship with that customer after going through the experience. And then once I graduated, I started working at a local company here in town in the same industry as D2D. And I was fortunate enough to work with some amazing engineers who taught me a lot about how to be an engineer, and also taught me the ins and outs of the broadcasting industry. But after about 7 years, I could kind of feel my career was stalling a little bit. It was a small company, and I worked directly for the owners. So I didn't really see a whole lot of upward advancement. So at that point, I decided to take my first big risk of my career, left the company and joined a startup. And it did not go well. After about 6 months, that company was out of business. But there's another colleague who was in the same situation that I was, and we started consulting together, and we were pretty successful at that. So it taught me to, it's okay to take risks. It's not always going to work out. You persevere, keep working hard. Good things are going to happen. I also think if you talk to a lot of successful people, you're going to find out they weren't successful in their first endeavor. And then after about 2 years, we started deciding, why are we designing things for other people? We should create our own products. And that's how we started D2D.
D2D, what does that mean?
So D2D means design to deliver. So that's kind of, we always want to create technologies which deliver on their promise. And then it also becomes a lot of our marketing aspect as well. If you have a lot of our product names, or design to alert, design to, or D2 alert, D2 guide, which really means design to guide, design to alert. So it's really designing some technology to deliver a benefit to the customer.
So tell us a little bit more about the hardware and what it does to connect people.
Sure. So D2D creates equipment for transporting digital video for cable companies and TV stations. But really, the technology is just a tool. What we really do is connect people. And let me give you a couple of examples. One way we connect people is to their communities through local news. So when you're watching the local news at night, it's our type of equipment, which is part of the chain getting the signal from the studio to all your different devices. Another way we connect people is through emergencies. We were selected by PBS through a FEMA grant to design and deploy a backup system to the wireless emergency alert system. And the way this typically works is when there's an emergency, local law enforcement, FEMA send messages over the public internet to the wireless carriers, then they distribute it to all the mobile phones in the area. What happens if during a hurricane or act of terrorism that the internet's down? How do those messages get out? Well, they also go to the PBS satellite uplink. From there, they go by satellite to all the PBS stations across the country. And at each location is our equipment, which will receive the satellite feed, remove the alert message from the satellite stream, insert it into the over-the-air TV transmission in each PBS station. And then the satellite providers will have their own special receivers, which know to look for the alert messages in the over-the-air signal. So in the event that the internet's down, they can still receive the alert messages and then get them out to everybody's mobile phones who are in that geographical area.
So it sounds like your equipment does a lot. Is this something, I mean, even 20 years ago, we weren't aware that this was coming down the pipe, but it kind of seems like you foresaw this, correct?
Yes, I've been in the say industry now for about 25 years, so and I kind of came in right about the time it was making this transition from the old analog days to the digital format of today, and which by going digital has allowed a lot more of these technologies to evolve, and we're actually even now going into a new generation with there's a new TV standard called ATSC3 Next Gen TV, which actually takes a step further and not only going digital, but everything is the same type of communications which are going over the internet will now be going over the air. So a lot of the same technologies used in internet streaming can now actually be done over the air as well in the new TV standard, which is now being deployed nationwide.
So is there criteria that you use for new opportunities?
Sure. One of the things we always look for when looking at new opportunities is we want to be beneficial for everyone involved. Even before we determine if it's technically feasible, we're going to make sure that everybody's going to benefit from it. And let me give you an example of that. Recently, John Kipp, our director of strategic growth, and I were having lunch at a local sandwich shop in the office park where D2D is located. And we noticed one of the offices right next door said Lit TV Network was on their front door. So we really were wondering, what do they do? And John's always telling me the key to sales is human connection. You always want to have that face-to-face interaction. So after lunch, we went over there, knocked on their door, and I'm so glad we did. We met two great gentlemen, Mike Grubbs and E.C. Winston of Lit TV Network, and they're making some great, high-quality, positive message content targeted for communities of color. And we're really inspired by what they're doing, and we think, what can we do to help? And they're already doing a really good job of streaming over the internet, but we thought it'd be great if they could be on the air as well. And they're interested in the Atlanta market. So we contacted a contact we had there, Dominique Castelli with Moonbeam Media, who has a station in Atlanta, introduced her to Lit TV, and they really hit it off. And within the next month, we're going to have Lit TV Network on the air in Atlanta. And she's looking into possibly putting it in other stations around the country that she owns, also looking at other broadcasters, and we're bringing in ad insertion equipment to generate ad revenue, which we share among everyone. So it's a really win-win for everybody involved. And I also want to give a shout out to the BizTV, because we're doing something similar with them as well. And we're kind of basically helping get BizTV on more stations around the country, so it increases their footprint and reach. At the same time, we're supplying broadcasters with high-quality business-related content. And we're also doing the same thing with the advertising. So it's another situation where everybody involved is benefiting.
So it sounds like you've got a really good team around you. How important is it to have that good team?
Well, that's very important because you can't do everything yourself. So it's very important to have a good team. And especially as a small business owner, one of the things you want to try and get to as soon as possible is to be working on your business and not in your business. And what I mean by that is you want to be focused on long-term goals, long-term strategies, and try and delegate as much as you can of the day-to-day activities to people around you. It's also important to have people who have diverse viewpoints and foster an environment where they feel comfortable expressing their views. And then really listen to your people and be sure to check your ego at the door, because you'll be amazed at the great ideas they come up with, which a lot of times are better than your own ideas. So really take advantage of those talented people you have around you. And you also want to make them feel appreciated. Jessica Collier does all our sales and support. And pretty much every trade show I go to, somebody's going to come up to me and say, Jess is doing an amazing job. She really goes above and beyond to take care of us. So whenever I get that type of feedback, I always make sure Jess knows, so she knows she's appreciated by both myself and the customer. That really promotes a very positive work environment and makes it where people enjoy coming to work every day.
Well, Steve, we appreciate you taking time out of your day to talk with us and give us a little bit more insight into D2D technologies. Thanks again, Steve.
No, you're welcome, and thank you for having me. And